Hello and welcome back to Transcending Ascension. Again, to join me today is Stephen from BJ Cast. We have an exciting announcement that we both already mentioned on our Twitter streams, but I'm still excited to talk about it more with him today. Welcome, Stephen. Thank you for being here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks again for having me on, Diana. How have you been?
Oh, going through it this summer, and I don't know if it's extra punch because it's Canada or if it's like that for everybody in the summer, but the cycles you go through with the spring and then that chaos in the summer seems to just keep being a constant thing every year. And I go through way more upgrades and way more upgrades and way more upgrades. So it's like good, but like you learn to be an initiate on your own. And the summer's a powerful time for it. How about you?
I would agree. This very interesting energies that have all come to fruition this summer. Especially in my, my own subjective journey as well as, watching the collective journey. I think, we're at a very interesting point. We see the culmination of what I would say two different outcomes really starting to surface at this point in time. And I mean, we're looking at one way being New Earth, and then the other way being potentially New World Order. And it's interesting to see how this is starting to really showcase itself on many different levels. I just been feeling it within my own practice. I've been feeling it with all around me, and I'm sure you can agree yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm excited to talk to Sarah. It's our announcement on Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern, my time. I think it's 3 o'clock PST, her time. And what is it, your time?
So it'll be 4 o'clock my time.
Great, because that'll just be life altering. I know after last time, I don't know, there's just something about it. She just literally does something like energetically. It's beyond even the discussions that are had. It's a force. And every one of her videos goes out like that as an audience member. But the privilege to actually get to speak to her, it's beyond words. And now you've done it twice this week. Third time's the charm. You might instantly saint out.
Thanks for that. No, I mean it is. If there's my opinion of Sarah is this: I look up to her very much. She has a very excellent way of explaining a lot of these esoteric concepts to help people who are just getting started grasp an understanding of things that might just seem a little out of reach for somebody who is just starting the path. Also, she's just a very humble individual. She does a lot of service for this community. I mean, she helps people through so many. She has workshops as well that she does. I've known people who have personally gone to her workshops and have had like amazing results. So, I mean, as far as Sarah goes, she is a blessing, most certainly. And I will always have the utmost respect for her and what she does. As you know, now we're comrades in this, and we're doing this thing together, trying to help increase the frequency of this collective and help kind of break down these topics for people so they can make them tangible and start to understand them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you have friends that went. I almost could have been one of them. I had a chance to see her in Toronto, but it was my daughter's dance recital, and talk about being a cliche. And I've always said my spiritual evolution comes first, except for my children. This is what happens when you become a mother. They have to come first, which is pretty spiritual. But I literally had to choose between her dance recital and seeing Sarah in person in Toronto, which I'm like 2-3 hours away from, but it's doable. And she was here and we missed it.
Hey, honey. We're just testing. We're testing for interviewing Sarah on Wednesday.
But seeing Sarah in person is just absolutely fantastic. And everybody, I encourage you to tune in to see her as well on Wednesday live. While we discuss, we will always be looking at the comments to see if you have questions for Sarah. If they come through to us, we will absolutely present them out to you so that you can as well be a part of that and just get in there and ask her questions. So if you have any questions in the meantime for Sarah, you can definitely send those out to BGcast or myself, and we will put those out to her, and we will assimilate them into the discussion. You never know where it's going to go. Last time we had the privilege of talking to her for a little over 2 hours, and who knows how long it'll go this time. I expect about the same, as she is very generous to bring us her wisdom and her knowledge. And this would clearly involve her pretty much probably dedicating her entire life to this and putting her everything towards being this person for us to actually look towards, that is taking all the ancient information that is accurate. This is the stuff I study, like Rudolf Steiner, Dion Fortune. I don't know if that's who she studies, but Manly P. Hall, like all this ancient wisdom that was true. A lot of Aleister Crowley. And then, of course, we have ancient Egypt. We have the Greeks. We have the Gnostics. We have the Rosicrucians. We have so very much information, but a lot of it is written so long ago that we now get people, like I try to be that myself. I read all this stuff and I spit it out, but it is not easy to make this information understood by as many people as possible. Language is magic, and getting your language wrapped around these concepts, actually in her last video was on expansion, actually helps expand you out. When you can use the proper words, when you can use the proper explanations, your mind can now assimilate it properly because it's being spoken in language of 2024, of our era. We are born into certain cultures with certain and all of us, I mean, every person on the earth today in 2024 can benefit, because that's just the way we are. We have circled together. It doesn't matter what language we speak, we can change the language. But funny enough, reading ancient information can somehow often be hard for us to get into our system. And if we can't get it into our system, how can we evolve with it? How can we take that information and allow it to evolve us? Because we hear about meditation, fantastic. We hear about yoga, fantastic. Breathing, fantastic. Fasting, fantastic, to connect to God. But there's another way to connect to God, and this way actually has more power in healing and altering your life. And that is simply to saturate yourself with spiritual wisdom and information. Yes, we all have our own internal Akashic records that connects us to everything. And when you pull in your intuition into the information you read, you can now take what happens in meditation as a purifying thing, but use it to also download the Hermetic tree of life and how you can literally use this to change your life. You can download information on how you can talk to tarot and how tarot can be your counselor. You think you're alone in life? You're not. Pick up a tarot deck. Rider-Waite is usually your best, because once you learn Rider-Waite, you automatically can understand almost any other deck. Aleister Crowley has his own. I like Rider-Waite. I actually love my Magical Beasts one, but it's working off that system. And this pulls into the psyche Carl Jung, another person you want to assimilate into your being, that she also works into her work, because Carl Jung was ultimately teaching us self-alchemy, but understanding his work has its own trials and tribulations of its own. Not all of us are starting off at that high level intelligence space. Most of us, especially if you're a starseed magical person, probably didn't pay attention in school and never cared about anything mainstream society was trying to teach you, because it was dumb. And we're finding out a lot of it was straight up lies. They made this stuff up. They buried information about ancient civilizations. They've tried to paint a narrative of when our time span is as humanity, and that is not accurate. Ever heard of the missing link out of the cavemans? There's no missing link, and this is well documented and researched. Greg, starts with a B, on Gaia, has a whole program you can watch that teaches you all the fabrications in society. And that's where I specifically learned the one of the caveman, and how we actually have tons of different cousins of humans that we're not directly related to. There is still no direct link from us to them, because that's just not how it works. We need to rethink things. There was dramatic jumps, in all these different versions of humanity. None of them could have been said to be directly connected to the other. We do evolve, the Darwin theories, but not as gradually as they say. And right now we are in an evolution where, like, our wisdom teeth, mine had to be taken out. We don't suit our wisdom teeth anymore. Why? Because we're changing shape so rapidly There's lots of other things that are come about, and our sizes have even been known to change shape in our own history. That's just one mini variation we see this, but we're going to get new abilities. I'm already getting them, and I'm sure you are too. We're going to know more things, be able to do more things, be able to think in layers. Fourth dimensional thinking is very powerful to advance your entire life. And again, these are all things that Sarah is actually an expert at teaching. It's my goal and what I've always tried to do. And then I found her and I was like, wow, you're doing this so much better than me, just so much better. Because she even says it herself. She started as an actually intelligent person. So we already have an intelligent person, and then they get to pick up these ideas and roll with them. So if you were a person that found yourself intelligent from the get-go, into actually researching and had your brain waves, your elasticity, neuro, if you're already still young, you are in the gold. I have been powerfully learning this stuff for 15 years now. But still, if I had been learning this stuff as a child, and I thank Harry Potter and I thank my obsession with magic, magical beasts, dragons, I was already into all of the magical, artificial ways that magic could exist. I wrote stories on it. I published a book on magic. I understood it all conceptually and all pretend. It was all pretend. But then you fast forward around when I'm 25 and I have a spiritual revolution, a spiritual awakening. All of a sudden, that information I've been learning now is able to integrate itself into my being from a true point of magic. Yet the learning never ends. Want to think you're smart? Get on your smarty pants horse. Pick up a Rudolf Steiner book and try to understand it. I'm getting there. I am going through his books now, but it's been years down the Rudolf Steiner road before I finally feel like I am understanding what you are saying. He has tons of books. Manly P. Hall, which I recently just found out was born close to where I'm from. So yeah, we could be related, but he grew up in America, but he was born close to where I'm from in Canada, like very close, and Canada's enormous. So that kind of means something. But his information is equally as, not equally, he's a little bit easier to understand. You can pick up Flames of the Initiate or Initiate of the Flames, and you will just, Secret Teachings of All Ages will back you up on everything you should know in the spiritual world like that. But the Initiates of the Flame has a more of that alchemizing soul experience just from reading it, as does Carl Jung's The Red Book and Dion Fortune's Kabbalah. All of these things can be working into our system and upgrading us spiritually in a way that's not invisibly woo-woo, in a way that's not, oh, I feel love and light and nice, which is fantastic. I spent time as that kind of spiritual person. It was lovely if you can stay there. But as a mother of three who now works, I'm doing this. I've been doing this for about 4 years now. And you need more to back you up than love and light, because you can very, very quickly spiritually bypass with just love and light, and you can leave your old shadow issues behind. By choosing to pick up tarot, you are going to go through your shadow. It's going to very honestly, insultingly, to the point where if you're like me, you laugh. Oh, like, because it will throw things in your face. Recently, me and my husband always talk about leaving because we don't like it here. Well, we just don't want to. We've moved around a lot, but within a same 3-hour radius of where we were born, both of us, even though different. But still, it's the GTA. Everybody lives here. In all of Canada, we all live in the GTA. If you want to take out Canada, we're all here. Nobody really seems to leave or live in any other provinces. It's why we were excited to maybe live on the East Coast, because the West Coast is unaffordable, but the East Coast, we could have the ocean, we could have an affordable house, we could have a farm. I could finally maybe open a retreat center and do all these, things. The whole move away, the grass is greener. Well, tarot slapped that in my face with the same 5 of Pentacles, which, if you know the image in the Rider Waite, is hilarious. They're all bitterly cold and in the winter, and it's just lol, because that's exactly it, right? And I asked multiple different times, and it kept giving me the same answer even after shuffling the deck. So that's a definite answer. And you too can find these answers in tarot, because like I said, often we're alone. You have people on the screen, smaller people like shows like both of us are going to be easier to connect with. If you have questions, you can always ask me, and I'm more likely to directly answer you, because that's what I do professionally, is answer people. But I answer my commenters too. So if you have questions, you can always ask, because getting the neural network stretched out, getting our upgrades to come in, it means answering questions. It means learning things you didn't know before. It means expansion, which was her last episode. So I'll wrap this up here, because this was just to wonderfully announce Sarah's coming on Wednesday, and also trial co-streaming. And we love StreamYard. It is a fantastic, if you ever want to be a podcaster or a YouTuber yourself, I've tried multiple platforms, and StreamYard just gets an unpaid shout out because it's amazing. And I thank it because it helps us. This is just the camera on my computer and a professional mic. You have to have a professional mic. You can't get away with it. I had to paint my windows so the lighting worked, and I do have lighting. But if you want to be a voice in the movement of spiritual awakening, it doesn't take much. I'm convincing my best friend who's listening to this right now to do a podcast with me, because she's more magical than I am, and she was born that way. I love you, Victoria. She knows everything just inside her being. She has always just been a magical sage that brings out truth from her being. And if you were like this, and you don't have to read endless books to get wise. You just are wise. You embody that divine feminine. You are the knower. Then start your own channel and welcome yourself to the voice, because this is all now not about fame, not about glory, not about the individual. It's about coming together to learn. And if anybody's going to get, not that she would ever want it, but Sarah puts in the work. She deserves, she's over 300,000 followers now. If you've tuned into her, that's an exceptional growth rate. There's people that have been 200,000 followers for a long time that I've been watching, and they're still there, where she has gone over hundreds of thousands, because she is saying the truth we need to be hearing right now. She is like our hero. I don't want to say Jesus. She might be our Jesus, not that I want her to have to sacrifice herself or any of that to come her way. I want her to go with ease and grace and to continue her mission. And I'm all for Matthias DeStefano as well. And he actually just started going down the cosmic hermetic route and starting to say things in that way, which is fantastic, because he also speaks direct, complete truth. His is a little harder to grasp. I don't know if it's because I still learn it. I still know it. I still dimensional learning. Absolutely. But he's on the next stage, where she is clarifying everything we already knew to date. She's bringing us everything we've already learned. Sarah El-Khaldi, the alchemist, if you don't know who the she I keep saying is, knows everything that we've been trying to be taught from the get-go, from the ancient Hermetics to the Rosicrucians, which was our most modest initiation group. She is our initiator. She is what the most of us can best hope to find as that perfect leader. And Matthias DeStefano too, fantastic. They're actually Aubrey, the man guy with the podcast, he worked with Matthias DeStefano, and he has huge retreats now. This is just, we're growing. The mass is picking up. We're critical mass. We already won, but more people are coming on board. It's already guaranteed. So don't feel bad about wanting to be one of them. Don't feel like I felt that way 4 years ago when I jumped in 2020 going, should I do that? Am I good enough? No, probably not. But are any of us? That's the whole point. We're human beings. And all we can ever do is try to be the best human being that we can do, despite our faults. Like RFK's big thing, whatever you think politically, the man is clearly intelligent and doing good environmentally and for medical health. So thumbs up. He used to possibly deal drugs and possibly do heroin, but that's okay. Russell Brand, who possibly has mistakes, he used to do heroin, but what are they doing? They're putting their voice out there. They're taking the fame they had from their names and they're putting it out there to bring people the information that they've been kept from for so long. It's why this is rushing so fast, because they dammed it up, they blocked it up, and now it had pressure behind it to come out, like Niagara Falls, which I happen to live close to, which is another blessing. because Niagara Falls, not that you'd actually want to live in the town, but being close to it, it's one of the wonders of the world. And you can just see, you can stare at the falls. It's like staring into the flame and be brought deep wisdom. So I will end that here. If you want deep wisdom, tune in this Wednesday. It's 3:00 her time, 6:00 my time. I'll post ahead of time on here so you'll get warned of the countdown of when it's coming. Sarah Alcaldi, The Alchemist, done between me and BJ Cast, so you can tune into either of our channels. And we will see you there. Thanks so much for joining us today. And thank you for being here earlier, Stephen. And have a great day. Bye for now. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. Can you tell? Here's my ending.